Hello. It is. What day is it today? I don't know. Today I wanted to chat about a few books that are really important to me in terms of they've helped me with my practice and they've also helped me grow as an artist. There are a few other books, but these three in particular are the three that currently for me have made a bit of an impact and have helped me as an artist. So I thought I'd share those with you today. It's day 65 out of 319 days to becoming a full-time artist. For those of you who are new, I'm Diana Kristen, and currently I'm making a vlog series aiming for next year to try and sell my artwork and become financially stable on selling my art. Hopefully I can do that by my deadline next year in August. So the aim is to have an exhibition set up and also put some of my artwork in a bunch of art galleries or some cafes in Edinburgh. Have that as my main source of income. Book number one. I'll start with the first book, the one that I got during my master's. So I did my Master's of Contemporary Art in Edinburgh. And the first book that I got during that course was this wonderful book of Yayoi Kusama. I got this after a trip to London, where I usually make a habit of whenever I go there, if I have time whilst I'm waiting for my train, I will go to the Tate or a gallery nearby and just check out what's happening. She was an artist in Japan, and at one point she was sending she found a little book, I think in a charity shop or in a bookshop somewhere, of Georgia O'Keeffe's work, which led her on this little journey to going to New York to try and become a big artist and meet Georgia O'Keeffe and do something else with her work and explore it more. My big takeaway from a lot of what she has done is, I think, using art to help her with her mental health, to kind of help her escape or help her understand things about herself. And I think that for me is a very interesting and pivotal point for me in my work, is to kind of explore my surroundings. And at the time that I was creating a lot of work for my university degree, I was using a lot of different things. I was exploring loads of different things. One of the best decisions I made was to do a foundation degree before I went to uni. I think a lot of undergraduate degrees are 4 years, so they encourage you to do an experimental year to kind of figure out what direction you want to go in. That was game-changing for me. And it ranged from photography to sculpture to painting and printmaking and a bunch of other stuff. What I was trying to figure out was where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. Went into the direction of creating sculpture and looking at installation and being immersed in the work. Because I think for me as a little kid, art was very immersive and it was an escape. So it was very like, everything around me, everything tactile and everything that I could create was to kind of become immersed within it. So that was kind of the direction that I was going towards and that I was interested in. And then when I got to uni, I was exploring painting and I was exploring sculpture, and I started off with drawing and painting at the beginning. And I really enjoyed it. But I also really enjoyed making things with my hands and being a bit more tactile with the things that I was creating, because that's how I observed the world and that's how I wanted to express myself at the time. And in my second year, one of my tutors told me that I was a very bad painter and that I shouldn't do it. That wasn't their words exactly, but it was more, this isn't your strong point. You should stick to sculpture. So I was very sad about it. And I completely stopped painting for a good couple of years. And I focused on drawing, and I focused on sculpture and filming. So from there onwards, I created some sculptures, and I had a show, and they were shortlisted. And then I went and did a master's where I was looking at more environmental stuff and more immersive stuff. And this is where she comes in. So when I got to Edinburgh, I started looking at nature, which then made me look into trees, which then made me explore that a little bit more. And I ended up making a little film about it. And I think I was still exploring a lot of my work at this point. And part of me that wanted to explore memory and sensory kind of memory. So yeah, so that was a big part of my art career. And a lot of it was at that time, particularly grieving and exploring myself. So it's quite a heavy one. So I think mental health wise, this book meant a lot to me, and I would recommend reading it. She's done so much, and she's experienced other artists copying her work and not being credited. She's been an influence to many fashion brands as well and collaborated with them. She's still going. She checked herself in, I think, in her 40s to a mental health clinic in Japan to kind of help her with the situation that she was dealing with. And so art for her is a way of life, and it is part of her rehabilitation and part of her exploring her identity and who she is. So for me, this book meant a lot, and I would love to see her work again. Moving onwards, our next book, which is Daniel Gregory, which I absolutely love. I think a lot of the pages in here are gorgeous. I'll share a few of those with you. So, Art Before Breakfast by Danny Gregory. This one came to me through my partner because she was looking at writing a book about something kind of to do with her work and music and business. And she really liked the way that this was set out. So she bought this as some inspiration on how to set out the book that she wanted to create. And then I started having a look at it. And I was at a point in my life where I was struggling to create, and I was sort of stuck. And it was before I decided to start painting again. So for this book, I really liked the routine and the kind of just do something little, just start here and just keep going. And I think doing my little sketchbook kind of sketch a day thing, or when I'm going out and I'm somewhere and just doing a little doodle here and there, it's given me a bit of time to sort of be mindful about being creative, and that has also helped me a lot creatively. Have I made loads of paintings yet? No, but I'm working on it. And I think for me, I would like to almost start again, but I think really think about what it is that I'm creating and how it's going to translate to the viewer or the buyer. Maybe focusing too much. I don't want to focus too much on creating work to be sold. I want to be able to create a body of work that was within a theme that I'm interested in that also speaks to other people. I think making work just to sell commercially is great for some people, but it's not entirely what I want to focus on. So with the previous exhibition that I set up earlier this year, my aim was to go back to that idea of identity and belonging and place. And I wanted to look at some photographs that my grandma sent me. And after she passed away, I had this box and it had my grandfather's wallet in it with a bunch of pictures and some receipts. And there was also a bunch of other photos in that box as well. And so I really wanted to explore that a little bit more and look at those photographs and combine them with photographs that I had also taken recently and in the past of my holidays and when I traveled to Trinidad to visit family with my parents and when I go to Norway. Yeah, so I did that. And I also sent a bunch of instant kind of one-time cameras to family members to take some photographs as well. And I plan to develop those and create some paintings out of those. I haven't done that yet because I didn't have time to do it for that show specifically, but I think those are the ones that I'd like to focus on for another series of paintings. So I work predominantly from photographs and kind of documenting life. And those are the kinds of things that interest me as a person. I'm very interested in the sort of home life, but the sense of nostalgia and belonging somewhere and being a part of a space or nature, how that makes you feel grounded and how that makes you feel at home. The landscape, I think, or just even having houseplants that make you think of different places that make you feel at home. Yeah, I think I'm still exploring it a little bit and I need to explore it a little bit more. This book specifically just helped me get back into a routine of not taking everything too seriously. And there's even a page that says ignore the rules, which I think is great because that is quite helpful when it comes to having no pressure and just drawing. And I think through just drawing and creating, a lot of my projects have come through that. So when I go back in my old sketchbooks, I'll see, oh, I did this little doodle or I did this little sketch or this little painting from a photograph that I really liked. And then because I really liked that, I explored that more. Why did I like it? What can I create from that? And then that sort of spiraled and grew into, oh, I have this box of photographs. Why didn't I look at these? And then that became the show that I did earlier this year. I think the reason why those things didn't sell is because they were very personal to me. And a lot of the photographs and paintings that I did were of me as a baby and my parents and my grandparents. So I think for someone to buy them, it might not necessarily feel related to them. There are some images, like some photographs that I picked that didn't have any faces in them, as sort of like the back of someone's head, or they were too small to kind of be seen. So I think those ones I sold a few prints of, and people liked those ones more because they could project their own feelings into it, their own stories, or it reminded them of specific things. Bjorn, can we get off my jumper, please? Thank you. And it reminded them of specific things. So that is something that I need to maybe think about when I'm putting paintings together, is how personal are they? Is this still going to translate to a buyer? Or, yeah, those are the kind of things I want to think about maybe moving forward. But I still don't want to completely eradicate it. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And then my third book is this one. So my camera died, but where were we? This book has also been amazing for me. It's really helped me. It's not like a book per se. It is more along the lines of a visual diary and a sort of journal practice. But it's been really helpful for me in terms of taking the pressure off sketching and just thinking about experimenting with color and playing with it a lot more. I also realized that it made me think about emotions and colors that were tied to mood, because the aim of it is to kind of journal about what is your color that day, what colors you're feeling like, and using that to kind of document your mood and journal about how you're feeling. And I made some notes with every single color and how I was feeling that day. And there's also some little themes in here which are really lovely, and it made me kind of play a lot more rather than focusing on creating an image. So I would recommend this to anyone who kind of wants to be a bit more mindful and journal about colors and what they mean to them. For me, this was really helpful, and I really loved it. So those are my 3 book recommendations, just in case y'all didn't catch that at the beginning. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think. And if you have any book recommendations as well for art, or what's helped you as an artist, then drop them in the comments below and let me know what you think. I've also been experimenting a little bit with sound and editing and trying to make these videos a bit better. So let me know what you think so far, and thank you. Subscribe and follow.